Okay, so I want to talk to you this evening about something that happened to me with one of my first gun dogs. I don't know whether it was because I didn't know or I didn't know, but I didn't see what happened coming. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate with this, empathize, sympathize, whatever you want a word you want to put on it. But was on a shoot day. I had a Cocker Spaniel. He was a young dog, and I'd probably put more confidence in my faith in him and in our training than maybe I should have. Experience has taught me that. Expect the unexpected with a spaniel all day long, with any gun dog, but definitely with a spaniel. And he'd been brilliant all day, and I was really, really proud of him. And I don't know whether I let my guard down or because it was the last drive, I thought, it's all been fabulous, it's going to end fabulously. But it didn't. So I'll tell you what happened. We had a fabulous day and he'd worked really, really well. And then we came to the last drive and everything sort of changed. What happened was there was a lot of birds at the flushing point. He was already wound up, and I probably should have got to the point where I thought, oh, actually, I'll put him back on a lead now. The environment's changed. We've talked about that all week. And the birds were able to be seen. I know that sounds odd, but a lot of times the birds are undercover or you can't really see them. But where we were, the birds could be seen all amongst the crop. And I don't know whether that was what sort of blew his mind, but he suddenly decided I didn't exist anymore. So he started darting around. So first of all, he was working and taking time to respond to me, and then he just became full out crazy. Okay, that's all I could see. I can laugh about it now. I certainly couldn't laugh about it at the time. Was him bouncing up and down like a rabbit, his Cocker Spaniel ears going up and down, up and down. What was worse, I suppose, is the fact that his name was Bob. As some of you will remember him, and what Bob was doing was basically causing absolute chaos, sending loads of birds far quicker than they should have been over the guns. And at the same time, one of the guns was on the plateau at the top of the hill that we were on working the dogs. The chap's name was also Bob. Now, I can laugh about it now. But as we were all screaming Bob, I started screaming Bob, lost my head a little bit, trying to get him back, really, really panicking. I was embarrassed. Everyone was looking at me. It was the last drive. Everyone was there. I was just like, oh my God, please come back to me, dog. Please come back to me. You've been good all day. And whilst he was bouncing up and down like a rabbit, everybody else started joining in, shouting, Bob. He was getting more excited, I think, by the fact either that we were all shouting Bob or the fact that he was now chasing birds left, right and centre. And the chap on the peg, the gun, was also called Bob. So Bob stopped shooting. Bob was looking around wondering why everyone is screaming Bob. Bob doesn't know. Bob's the dog. I genuinely can laugh for it now, but I couldn't at the time, right? And it was horrific. Everybody was laughing, which was a lovely thing because it could have been far worse for me. The gamekeeper could have been like, go, never come back. And I understand the serious nature of that. I think it was only because everybody had a fantastic day and because Bob the gun was now very, very confused that everybody sort of giggled it off. But the reality of it being, it didn't feel like that. So I suppose what I wanted to tell you this really embarrassing story for, that happened many, many years ago and hopefully will never, ever, ever happen to me ever again, is my dog was ignoring me because the situation was really, really exciting, okay? It wasn't what happened after that made it really exciting. It was the actual time that he decided to go what we all like to call, I'm sure you heard it being said, he decided to go self-employed. And what I mean by self-employed was that he was making every decision needed for himself by himself. We were certainly not a team. We certainly were in a situation where I might as well not have been there because he was going to hunt the way he wanted to hunt. Thankfully, in his age, he was just more than chasing them. He was sort of just bouncing around amongst them. He wasn't doing anything that was really horrific. What he was doing was horrific, but it wasn't really horrific. And when dogs go self-employed like that, every gun dog handler will have this, whether it's a pet gun dog or whether it's a dog working out on a shoot. you will have that point, or I think most of us will have that point, 99% of us, where they'll go self-employed and it's embarrassing. And what happens is not only are you embarrassed, but you lose confidence in your capability from that point forward. It only takes us breaking the trust either way for the relationship to be damaged. And what I mean by that is, hopefully nobody listening to this is this type of person, but if you were the type of person to scold your dog fiercely and do things you shouldn't do, that dog would never look at you the same way and would always be fearful of you and will always not trust you. And then it works the other way, and when a dog goes self-employed and we cannot control it, and certainly if they're at distance from us, we then have the same feeling ourselves for very different reasons, the same feeling ourselves of, I can't trust this dog. Tends to be that we put them back on a line, maybe the long line, maybe a lead, because we just really don't want to be back in that situation again. It's the reality of the fact that what you thought was the relationship with you isn't actually what the relationship is. So like Popper, you know, like I understand, or I've had that happen to me, or me too in the comments, and I'll sort of chat to you a little bit later, but it definitely happens to most of us at some point, okay? But what I want to talk to you about is you can build that relationship back up. Absolutely, you can build that relationship back up. It takes time, like any relationship damage, whether that's human to human, human to dog, human to, you know, horse. It can take time to build that back up, but you can, and you can build your confidence back up alongside it. But you do need to be aware of the fact that when you lose confidence, that is going to need to be rebuilt, okay? On Friday night, which is only 2 nights now, Wednesday night, in 2 nights' time, we're going to be having a free webinar for everyone. It's not just for our members. We are literally doing it for anyone who wants to listen. Hundreds and hundreds of you have joined, and that's incredible. In fact, I think we're over 1,000 now, which is unbelievable. We've never had so many people on a webinar. So it is going to be absolutely busy. And you guys will be trained by the experts on what to do about overexcitement and focus, okay? You won't be trained by me. I'm not the expert in gun dog training. I'm just telling you something that happened to me from my experience and how I felt about that, and what I learned from that, really. But you'll have them there to help you. And there'll be real talk, okay? Like, a lot of things don't prepare us for this stuff. They say to us that if your dog's got self-employed, it's all your fault. It's this, and this. And it's no one's fault. Things happen, you know, and nobody goes out there with a dog in a way to plan that the dog will go wrong. But the dog goes wrong, and then the human is embarrassed, and sometimes we can't get that situation back together. So they're going to be talking to us on Friday. The link is in the comments, or if you're listening to this on Instagram, you can literally write "testing me" in the comments, and we will send you the link to join. It's totally free to register. Once you have registered, you will get the link on Friday evening. There is the possibility, if you join us live, of winning an amazing prize from Sue Lister, Field and Fireside, £150 kit, just for joining us live. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. You're going to go away with loads and loads of training from our experts who are incredible. Claire Denia, Gemma Martin, Samantha Thornycroft Taylor. They are absolutely adored by our members. They think, you know, they are amazing trainers, and I'm sure you will too. And you've got that possibility of getting that prize. We will do our very, very, very best to record it. However, things can and do go wrong. Literally before this call, I was recording a podcast, ready for our Found It, Fetched It podcast that comes out every fortnight. It comes out on Friday morning. And right at the end of what had been an incredible interview, an incredible podcast, we realised they hadn't recorded, and it's devastating. We now have to rearrange to do that again. With this webinar, there will be no rearranging. So please do your very, very best to join us live. It is going to be worth it. You will get a lot from it. We will try to send a replay out, but we certainly can't promise that. The webinar on Friday is really going to show you how to build the kind of focus that holds wherever you are. We will teach you to not be in the situation that I found myself in with Bob, okay? How to make sure that you have worked in a way and trained your dog in a way to keep that focus, to control that overexcitement, so that these situations, shall we call them, are minimized. I will not say they'll never ever happen again. They happen to us all, but they will certainly happen far less. Now, years on, with loads and loads of hours of the experts training me and training our community, I now have a pretty good idea not to let that happen again. Another time I didn't know what I didn't know, but I certainly do have a better understanding and a better knowledge now to try to minimize that. Certainly when I'm about to pick up a new puppy, and I really don't want that happening ever again. So if you've got a self-employed dog, please sign up. We hope to see you all on Friday night. Hopefully you'll join me tomorrow night for one more live, and we'll do our webinar on Friday, and hopefully we'll give you loads and loads of information that you can go away next week. You will feel far more capable of this not happening to you, far more in control of your dog, and far more in control of his focus. I'll let you all go have a lovely evening, and we shall speak to you all tomorrow night. Good night.